Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. Happy Monday. And it is noon on August 17th. I'm just getting Instagram working. There we go. And hey, Mahatma, good to see you. Let's remove that out of the thing for today. Cool. All right. All right. So I hope everyone had a great weekend. I did. I watched the UFC this weekend. That was fun. And what I thought I would do today is right now I'm working with one of my agents, and I am training it on creating better presentations for me. And so I have a presentation to review right now for it. And I figured instead of just like taking a look at it and giving feedback, why not present it and actually just go through the presentation with you? It's not that long, and it's about AI. Hello, Terrace. Nice to see you. And so that's what we're going to do. And so what the presentation is on, and it's a quick one, is to quickly cover 15 concepts that you kind of need to know if you want your if you want to do the best that you can or operate effectively with AI. I'm just going to see if I should switch cameras here real quick. I don't think I need to, but just in case. No, I think I'll go back to that. All right. So why don't we get into it? Because I'd like to go through this, and I'd like to share with you what this is all about. So for many people, agentic AI has been turned into like a vocabulary test, right? And so I'm going to do the opposite in this presentation. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you 15 different ideas that are critical to know, but how they fit together and what each one controls. But I'm going to do it in a way that makes it much easier to follow than, just trying to remember 15 terms. So with that said, I can now move forward. All right. So here are the 15 terms presented like this. They look like 15 separate technologies that you have to learn, right? Agent, loop, planning, reflection tools, memory, context, state, guardrails, permissions, human in the loop, orchestration, multi-agent, observability, stopping, skills. But they're not 15 separate things. What they are parts of 5 operating decisions about how, or 5 questions about how work gets done. So the 5 decisions are: what is the job? How does the work move? What must carry forward? How does the work stay governed? And when should the system grow? What keeps going? How does it move? What carries forward? How does it stay governed? And when should the system grow? All right. And those are the 5 decisions that really have to happen. And you can look at these terms in context of that, right? So here's the map. You have 2 concepts define the job: the agent and the planning. 3 move the work. That's loops, that's tools, that's context. 5 govern, control, right? Reflection, guardrails, observability, permission, and human, and stopping. 3 determine how the system scales: skills, orchestration, and multi-agent. And 2 preserve continuity, memory, and state. So number 1, right, that first category. First, the job. What work should keep going until a defined goal is reached? That's the first thing, right? Like, what is the job that you're trying to get done? And a task ends with an answer. An agent has a goal that persists until the finished condition is met or until a human stops it. So an agent is defined by a goal that persists, not merely by one response. Planning. Planning is only useful when later work truly depends on earlier work. So planning earns its place when one step depends on another. If the job is 4 obvious moves with no branching, do not add a planning ritual just to make it sound agentic. In a weekly review kind of example, the continuing goal is clear, but the work does not need a separate plan. The steps are already obvious. Each Monday, review the lead report and flag what needs attention, right? It's obvious. How does it move, right? How does the job move? From input to result. That's the work. And so Sean just asked real quick here, what's the topic today? What I'm doing right now, Sean, is I'm going through a presentation that my AI made for me to determine, to give it feedback, because I think right now, yeah, so it made it for me. It's a skill that creates presentations for me, and it created this for me, and I wanted to give it feedback because I don't think it's there yet. So we're going over these 15 terms, how they fit in context, so that this way people can understand them. So work, how does the job move? That's the second, right? So the loop is simple, right? Look, choose, do, check. The technical labels are observe, decide, act, and check. The loop repeats only if the goal still requires more work. So an agent loop, right, is just a repeatable cycle of observing, deciding, acting, and checking. A tool is what lets an AI do more than just talk, read a file, search the web, call an API, or use another approved capability. Name the tool. Do not assume that the system can see it or use it. Tools give a model specific capability beyond just the conversation. Read a file, search web, call an API. Context is what the system can see right now. Dumping everything into a window can bury the job, give it the right report, the right rule, and the right goal. I think this presentation is a little bit too like choppy, personally. That's what I'm thinking. I'm going to go through them a little bit quicker because I think they're choppy, but I will add additional context. All right. So here's an example, one relevant report, one file reading tool, and one loop. Okay. So the lead review workflow does not need the whole company archive, right? It needs this week's report, permission to read the file, and the 4-move loop, right? Which was this. Oops. Look, choose, do, check. Okay. Continuity. That's the number 3. So what must carry forward after this moment, and what only needs to survive the current run? So what needs to end? What needs to survive? Memory answers what should still matter next time. What needs to be saved for next time? Save only what the next run needs, such as a confirmed benchmark, any decisions you made, a pricing record, but not the entire conversation. State is different. It tells the system where this run is right now, what finished, what remains, and whether the job is complete. Memory is what next time should know. State is where the run currently is. One preserves useful knowledge. The other is where you are right now, preserves your place. For the weekly review, memory may be last week's confirmed benchmark. State is simply where today's review stands. 3 sources checked, 2 still open. Control. Control defines quality, boundaries, visibility, authority, and completion. So how does the work stay governed? This is where 5 concepts protect the job from becoming uncheckable or open-ended. Thanks, Sean. Reflection is the system checking its work, but make it better is a vibe, right? If a claim has no evidence, remove it is a rule that the system can actually test. So you want to make sure, you want to make sure that your instructions are not weak. Guardrails are the lines the system cannot cross. State them directly, never invent a number, never publish without a source, never spend without approval, right? So those are all guardrails. Forbidden actions. Observability. Observability exposes the path from input to evidence. Observability means you can see what the system did, the input that it used, the choice it made, the action it took, and the evidence behind it. Permissions define what the system may do. Human in the loop defines the consequential decision that remains human, right? What you still need to decide. So permissions decide what the AI may read, change, send, or spend. And human in the loop identifies the exact point where a person must approve before anything consequential happens. A stopping condition defines completion and prevents endless or premature work. Every agent needs an exact finish, right? When is it going to stop? You need to tell it. Stop when every flag source has a source note or is marked not enough evidence or is completed or whatever. Now, both the system and the reviewer can tell whether the job is done. Someone should be able to see it. Anyone should be able to identify it. So the weekly led review example, right? Reflect, remove unsupported claims, guardrail, never invent a reason, observe, show the source number, human owner approves the change, stop, evidence or not enough evidence. So now the weekly review can check itself, respect the boundaries, show its evidence, preserve the owner's authority, and stop at a visible finish. Scale, when should the system actually grow? Only after the job is clear enough to reveal what more is actually needed. Right? So a skill, once we know a method works, we save it as a reusable skill. This is the first and often most useful kind of scale, right? Reuse what has already proven to work. You've gotten an outcome, so now formalize it so you can get that outcome over and over again. Orchestration. Orchestration is a coordination layer. Research, hands to writing, writing hands to review, right? Use it when those handoffs are real, not because the word sounds advanced, right? You need to orchestrate when these things happen. When does it go from research to writing? When does it go from writing to review? What are the benchmarks? When does it happen? A multi-agent system just means different agents own different jobs. That can be powerful, but it's larger machinery, not a starting definition of agentic AI. Complexity must be earned by a real limitation in a simpler system, right? One agent, one clear job, max it out first, add orchestration or more agents only when the real dependencies demand it, like necessitate it. Okay, so those are the 15 terms that we've gone over. Now, I think this presentation was kind of lousy, to be honest with you. I think it wasn't much better than just me reading off definitions. I don't think it necessarily created better context. And so I would say that my feedback for my AI this time is that this is a fail. But let me finish the presentation. I have 5 more slides. Find the missing decision in one AI workflow. So now use the full model. Pick one AI workflow you already use or want to use. You are not building it from scratch. You are diagnosing which decision you might have left out, which decision is missing. Is the goal clear? Are the moves, right, and inputs clear? Did that work? What must carry forward from one step to the next step, right? The continuity. What are all the rules? Like, what are all the guardrails? Human in the loop, etc. And have you turned it into a skill if it's something you do frequently and you haven't yet formalized it? So now you're supposed to have 5 minutes, mark what's clear, what's missing, what is not needed. All right, we're not going to do that, obviously. Your result, okay. Yeah, I would say that while I like the look of it, I don't like how it kind of broke it down. I felt like it was a stodgy kind of presentation, too academic, not enough my style, so to speak. And because of that, I'd have to give it a failing grade. So that was useful for me just to kind of give my AI some feedback on a presentation that it designed for me, but not really, because it's not something I would use. So back to the drawing board for my AI, and it will learn a little bit better how to create presentations for me. I am planning on getting Grokbot up and running this week. I'm really kind of excited about playing around with that. I don't know if you guys have heard about that, but it's been quite a bit of buzz about it. And so Sean asks, were you trying to present how to create a skill? No, I was just creating, this was a presentation around 15 terms that kind of are involved in AI that you should know, but trying to put them in context of like getting a job done. But I think it did a really lousy job of that. And so it was trying to kind of create a presentation in my style, but I would say that visually it's fine, but not, even if those 15 terms were my objective, which I think that was the agreement, I think it could be taught better so that you know what those are, where it was even less of a focus. So with that, I would say, yeah, NG, no good. But that's what I was trying. That's what it was trying to do. I just had the skill is working to try and really kind of get at how to present better for me, how to create better for me. And so it wanted me to check this out and give it some feedback. So that's what I did. Anybody got an issue with their AI or challenge or something on this Monday? That's true. If you can turn it into a skill, there's a chance, depending on the skills job, you can turn it into code. Well, all skills should be turned into as much code as it can be. Anything that is non-deterministic should be made deterministic by taking it and then turning it into a run book or converting whatever can be deterministic into code, which is always going to work better. And it's one of the reasons why a lot of people have the experience of building something and having it break, is because they didn't turn it into code once it worked. And so that's really something that everyone should do who builds or creates with AI, is ultimately create a run book or turn it into code. And that is it, I think. So that's what I wanted to share today, unless someone's got a question, but I don't see any questions flying in. Quite a few of you on, so thanks for being here. And I guess I will be back tomorrow. Hopefully someone has a question, or maybe I'll have another presentation to review from AI, or something else wonderful to share. I imagine that sometime this week I'm going to post a Substack this week and probably share a deep concept, like in depth, sometime this week as well. So until then, to higher profits beyond, this is Rich Schefrin over and out. Make the week productive, and to higher profits beyond.